He don't know nobody else. What do you mean?
Well, how come I late night?
You're a jagger.
What, is yours? This pen? Yeah, that's my pen. Oh, it's a nice pen. I just didn't know what it was. I thought it was yours. I didn't want it to get lost.
Well, thank you. Why don't you take that fucking pen and shove it up your ass, you fucking jag off.
No, it's just offering you fucking
Okay, you hear little girl, Frankie? You hear little girl, Ace? Is that little fucking girl? What happened to the fucking tough guy told my friend stick it up his fucking ass? Huh?
While I was trying to figure out why the guy was saying what he was saying, Nicky just hit him. No matter how big a guy might be, Nicky would take him on. You beat Nicky with fists, he comes back with a bat. You beat him with a knife, he comes back with a gun. And if you beat him with a gun, you better kill him, because he'll keep coming back and back until one of you is dead.
Hello, everyone. Once again, this is Dare to Speak. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about what is known as the ethnic arrogance. Or why some, and of course, why some people, or a lot of people actually, see certain races as being worthless, no good, or whatever like that. The negative stereotypes of, and basically any kind of ethnic people that are on the list, like Hispanics and Italians, like you saw in the beginning of this video. And my explanation for this, because once we're going to be actually exploring this, the reason why they're seen as being worthless, piece of shit races, worthless piece of shit race, Italians like that, and Hispanics, with all that type of negative stereotypes. I'm not going to be concentrating too much on blacks right now, because this is more like foreign-speaking people. And I notice a lot of arrogance within, in my Hispanic family. And, not too much, but a little bit of it. And I noticed a lot of it with certain friends that I grew up with. The families are pretty much very arrogant, and a lot of them, of course, a lot of them are ghetto. And you don't really see that type of arrogance with Hispanics or Italians that are, excuse me for saying this, like whitewashed, or whether you would consider whitewashed and stuff like that. I mean, you do maybe see some arrogance in that, but not to the extreme where they actually get in your face. The ones that are born with what is called the warrior gene. Now, for those of you who don't know what the warrior gene is, it's a gene that someone is born with that makes them quick-tempered, makes them very competitive, makes them a bully. That makes them pretty much like a narcissist. It makes them a very overbearing, in some cases, not all of them, but in some cases, an overbearing narcissist, which is very common with about maybe, I don't know percentage-wise, but a fair amount of them are like that. And it's actually escalating, at least in my opinion. I haven't really spoken to any scientists or experts on it, but I noticed with some people in some documentaries and a few psychologists that I've spoken to that the warrior gene is the main cause for the ethnic arrogance. Some of them have a predisposition to become narcissistic because of their parents, and or sometimes they're going to have very nice parents that are not like that, and they're going to have cousins or uncles or aunts that are very arrogant and very competitive, and they like to harass people and reduce them to tears. There are some people like that. And you notice that with also with some white people, they're the ones that are quote unquote, like trailer parks, biker gangs. A lot of them are like that too. And it seems to be only focused on them. Like for some reason, you don't really see that much of that type of arrogance with the upper class type people that much. I don't know how bad it is with them, but it's not. If for some strange reason, well, I kind of have a suspicion of what it's caused by, but I can't say it because it's going to sound too far fetched. A lot of it has to do with. I mean, it's mostly focused on more like the upper low class or low class people. I notice that type of arrogance with my own race a lot. Mexicans, and I noticed that a lot with Puerto Ricans. And I noticed a lot of it with certain Italians, even though I don't know that many. But I've seen a lot of arrogance with that with Italian Americans. And this is something else that I think will make a very good point.
Yo, what's up, man? Jackson, look at here. You been ducking me lately, Ray? No. No? No. You don't still think I'm pissed at you, do you? I don't know. What are you shaking, Ray? What you got to be nervous about? You don't think I'm gonna kill you or something, do you? Huh? No. I'd never kill you here, Ray. Not in front of all the pretty ladies. You know I'd never kill you here. Oh! Damn, now that looks nasty.
Jackson? What the hell are you doing here?
How are we gonna keep the cops out?
I say let them come, bro. I know how to handle cops.
That lifestyle working out for you?
Don't get all high and mighty with me, player. I know where you come from.
Where I come from, you don't bring down the community. You try to make it better.
I'm just doing my thing, man. Why don't you go and get out of my face?
Your thing hurts everybody. Why do you think nobody cares to clamp it down on this neighborhood?
There's a bunch of racist pigs.
Well, there's that. And there's people like you. A thug with a gun, keeping the cycle going.
Not my problem.
No, see, it's my problem, all right? Because they shot my friend over there.
Oh. Yeah, white man dying. Not exactly losing sleep on it.
That right there is just an example on how some people that are very thuggish, like what people would label as ghetto trash or whatever, or anything of that, with that type of attitude, that a lot of people would stereotype ethnics, whether they're black, Hispanic, or whoever. And it's not really so much about race. That's the thing. Even though a lot of the ethnic people do have the warrior gene, it has to do with this predisposition to become arrogant and narcissistic, and even leading to criminal behavior. I've seen a lot of that growing up in the ghetto. And of course, I wanted nothing to do with that type of, that type of crowd. I've always stayed away from them. And it bothers me a lot because of the fact that Hispanics, blacks, and whoever else, especially blacks and Hispanics, are being stereotyped because of the warrior gene. And like I said before, it has to do with family genetics. And even though most of them are from the ethnic race, it doesn't make it okay for someone to label someone as being worthless. Or the Italian part that I just showed an example of. And also Jersey Shore, for those of you who watch Jersey Shore, the type of arrogance that they have, like that kind of thing, and it's very stupid. But it's also, I don't know if they want to admit to it, but a lot of Italians are like that. Italian Americans are like that, and I don't think in that sense is that much stereotypical. I think it's more truthful. Same thing with Hispanics. But the thing about it is, it should not be brought to the point where they're labeled or stereotyped as being a piece of shit race or something like that, because that's just wrong. Yeah, we have issues, big time. I admit to that. A lot of our people have issues with that. It's because of this gene that a lot of these people are born with. Now, of course, yes, environment has a lot to do with it too. I'm not saying that it doesn't. Environment has a lot to do with it, but it only has to do with only about 50% of it. The other 50% has to do with genetics, family genetics. And of course, what bothers me the most is how a lot of these people who have this gene make other people look bad. Other people who don't have that gene. There's Italians that grew up in an unsavory neighborhood with families that are very arrogant and narcissistic, and they grew up and they're completely different from their siblings and their parents and their aunts and uncles. There are certain family members within the arrogant type family that actually grow up to be honor students, and they're like very sweet, very caring, and very sensitive, and they're not even arrogant at all. There's some of them are like that because they have a different DNA strand, or not DNA strand, but their DNA is different. Same thing with Hispanics. You can have an Hispanic family in which almost everyone is very arrogant and narcissistic, and some of them have been in and out of jail. A lot of them have done crime. A lot of them have got into a lot of fights, and there's like one or two people within the family. I don't know if you ever noticed with some families, there's one or two people within the family that are the total opposite of them because they just have a different type of DNA. And even though they grew up in the same unsavory neighborhood where there's a lot of negativity and a lot of bad element, they don't get affected by it. And people wonder why. And it's all because of genetics. They're just different. They're not like their siblings. So to me, it has to do with what I call the warrior gene. And for those of you who don't know what the warrior gene is, I don't want to elaborate too much on it because there's a lot to talk about. I strongly suggest you look it up and you find out. It's a very important thing. So for those of you who wonder why people within the ethnic community act this way, this is the answer. And if you disagree with me, if you think what I'm saying is wrong, or I'm overdoing it, or it's stupid or whatever, fine. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not going to argue, but I'm just bringing out information. I'm just trying to be informative. Again, so if you have any questions whatsoever or any comments, please don't hesitate. And regardless of how someone is born, regardless of whether they have the warrior gene or not, they can become very different people in a very positive way. It is possible. Nothing is impossible. I believe that. We do have an epidemic with a lot of these prisons that are being, overflowed with blacks and Hispanics and any other race that has to do with real bad family genetics and growing up in an unsavory neighborhood. But there's also a lot of corruption that leads to it too when it comes to environment. But again, genetics also plays a very strong role in it. So again, post any comments, any questions. Don't hesitate at all. And to all of you, Take care.